Hello everyone. Today I got 3 more new, absolutely fantastic horror books for you to check out. We got a little bit of everything you want for the Halloween season, you know. We got vampires, we got werewolves, we got an ancient evil supernatural witch. And those are all the things you want for this time of year, I think. And these are 3 you definitely don't want to miss out on for this spooky season. And as a reminder, I have horror books for sale, and my debut horror novel called Pray for Salvation, there's a link down below where you can pick up that one along with all the rest of my horror books. But I'm also giving away free copies of my first anthology I ever wrote called The Things That Happen at Night. There's a special link down below for that, where that's the only link you can go to get your free copy. So I highly recommend you do that because there's no obligations and no strings attached. I just want you to read it to say thank you. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. This might be my favorite Rachel Harrison book to date. And yes, I know every time she comes out with a new novel, I say the same thing, but I mean it every time. She just keeps getting better and better. And this is a vampire novel. But it's also about so much more. It's about friendship and self-discovery and figuring out what you really want in life and who you are. And it's about 2 female friends, lifelong friends. They've been friends for a long time. One of them is wild and kind of impetuous and just like to enjoy her life without really thinking about the consequences much. And the other one is more reserved. She's in a marriage, but she's unhappy in that marriage. She's been cheated on several times and just kept forgiving him because to her, the comfort and familiarity of that bond is something she finds comforting, even though she's not really happy. But she is more reserved and more thoughtful about the things she does. So they're kind of different, but they've been best friends forever, and they seem to complement each other. And one weekend, they go on a girls' retreat to a resort. And they're in a bar, they meet a bunch of people. And these people invite them back to their house to have a party one night. And of course, her friend's into it. You know, the impetuous one is like, yes, let's go have a party with these strange people in this house we don't know. And she's more reserved, but she's not going to leave her friend alone with these people, so she goes along. And yes, they are vampires. I'm not going to tell you what happens or how they turn. It's horrifying though. It's very frightening. I'm going to let you read that for yourself. But eventually they do get turned. And it's not like these vampires are actually threatening them or anything. They're saying, hey, we're your new family now. We can help you out. You're going to be going through some changes, not knowing how to navigate. But they don't want to really have nothing to do with this group. They're just horrified that this happened, and you'll understand once you read how that happened. But now they're going on a road trip trying to figure out what to do, and there's going to be a lot of blood, of course, because they do have to feed, and sometimes their thirst is so overwhelming they throw the consequences out the window. They kind of feel bad about it afterwards because they don't want to kill anybody, but this is kind of their lifestyle now, and now they have to figure out how to navigate this, to them, a new world with different rules than what they're used to, and how they can justify the things they do with who they are as human beings. And like I said, this book is terrifying at points. It is bloody and gory, but beneath it all, there's this friendship and there's this bond and there's this realization of coming out of somebody's shell and just realizing that maybe just being comfortable isn't going to make you happy in life. Sometimes you got to take chances and, you know, all that self-discovery and things like that. And it's written very well, as always, as all of her books are. The characters feel real. You'll actually kind of like the vampires. You know, they're very pragmatic. Yeah, we kill people, but we have to. It's not murder, it's survival and that kind of thing. But they're kind of party animals, but they're not bad. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I love that whole thing. I love the whole concept. This book was excellent. I highly recommend it, of course. And there is a link down below where you can pick up your copy. And next we have a book that is coming out tomorrow at the time I'm making this video, and you need to pick this one up. This is the first full-length novel from Brian Asman. It's called Good Dogs. Yes, it's a werewolf novel. And yes, if you've been around my channel at any length of time, you know how much I love a good werewolf story. And this one is just about as good a werewolf story as you'll ever want to read. And basically it's about a group of people. They're not related. They're different ages, different personalities. And they all live in this house run by an older man who happens to be a werewolf. And he kind of runs a halfway house kind of for werewolves when people are aware of these powers and this curse that's upon them. And they don't know how to negotiate the world. They get invited there, and they all live together, and they have rules. He has a lot of property and woods around his house. So when they turn, they have neck collars on that will not allow them to get past a certain perimeter. So in his woods, which is vast, they can run, they can hunt anything except humans. They can hunt any other animals that are out there, and they can be their wolf selves for those times when they change without having to worry about being murderers and eating people or getting killed or anything like that. And they are a disparate group of people, you know. They are different from each other. They all have different hopes and dreams and values and things like that. But they all come together as a pack when they turn into their wolf forms. But one time after they turn back human, something has happened. They see a severed bloody limb laying in the middle of the yard. And they realize that one of them has somehow broken the major rule not to harm any other humans, not to kill any humans. And now they have to figure out who did it, but more importantly, how to take care of it. Luckily, this man that owns the house, he bought a ghost town as a plan B many years ago, out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody ever shows up around there. And so he sends all his pack to live in this ghost town. Him and another guy hold back to take care of this mess. They got to find the body that limb came from. They got to take care of all the evidence, make sure nothing points to them. While the rest of the pack drives out to this ghost town that's going to be their new home in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. But things are not going to go well for either of these two groups, because the people that go out to the ghost town and start to set up, they start to unravel. Their friendship starts to be strained, and they're going to find out soon that there's something out in that desert that is much more terrifying than even a pack of werewolves, and they are going to have to at one point fight for their lives. In the meantime, the guys that stay back to take care of this little problem find out that's more difficult than what they thought. And there's a good chance they might be caught, because certain things are going to transpire that puts them in even more danger. It might even cause more bloodshed, and they have to figure out how to get rid of the evidence and not have their names involved and get out of Dodge. And it's very tense and it's very exciting. It's a great werewolf story, and it has a lot of heart behind it, but it's also got the right amount of bloodshed and gore and terror and all this stuff you expect from a good werewolf story. I love this one. I've been waiting to talk about it for a long time, and now that it's coming out tomorrow, at the time I'm making this video, it's time for you to purchase it and read it as well. And I highly recommend it. There is a link down below where you can pick up your copy. And next we have Kevin Bachar's new novel, the second book in the House of Horror series that he's writing. All these stories are different. You don't need to read the first one to read this one and understand it, and he's got one more coming. This one is called The Crone. Oh man, this one was really just a great old-fashioned balls to the wall horror story, man. It's about a family. You know, you got the husband and wife, they got a 4-year-old daughter, and they have another baby on the way, and they're house flippers, which means, you know, they buy old houses, fix them up and flip them, but business has not been good. And so they find themselves really struggling financially, and one day the man's driving by a foreclosed sign, and he sees a house that draws him in. Like, he becomes obsessed with this house. And he meets a seemingly nice old lady who claims to be like the realtor or the person in charge of the transaction. And she seems very excited that he's interested in having his family move into that house. But we're going to find out right away that she is not just an innocent old lady. And that's not a spoiler. Like, this is right after he meets her, we realize that she is a horrendous thing, a horrendous creature that wants his family for something other than companionship. Let's put it that way. He convinces his wife to move into the house, and all of a sudden their daughter starts talking to different people, starts saying weird things, and some odd happenings start to happen, and eventually this family is going to realize that they have purchased a house where a witch's curse from long ago has been placed on it, and this woman, this Crone, this ancient old supernatural witch, is there simply for their blood. That is all she wants. Especially she wants the baby that hasn't been born yet, and because this will continue, this will allow her to continue to live and fulfill that curse from a long time ago, but only if she makes that kind of sacrifice. And this one is, it doesn't take any time to get right to the point. The witch is obvious right away. I mean, he spells it out for you. And you know this family is going into something that is just going to be terrifying, and it winds up being even more terrifying than what you could imagine, some of the things they have to go through. And you'll feel for this family. It's a really good family dynamic, and the characters are written wonderfully. And yeah, this is just a good old-fashioned horror book that's meant to do one thing, and that's kind of scare you silly. And this book certainly does that. I highly recommend it. And there is a link down below where you can pre-order your copy in the description, and I definitely think you should. It's excellent. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.